Hey, it's Deborah Atkinson with Flipping 50, and I'm popping in here live on this Monday, October 12th already, to invite you. First of all, Wednesday night, the 14th of October, is second Wednesday of the month, and every second Wednesday of the month, I do a Flipping 50 live masterclass. We deep dive into some topic, usually very relevant to the season. This year, of course, everything has been very relevant to what's true for women who are in the middle of their lives and being photobombed by Truman. What's true of women who are in the middle of their lives, in the middle of menopause, but also in the middle of a pandemic. So, of course, we've done a lot of master classes on exercise for boosting, not busting your immune system. I think that was back in April. And more recently, I talked a lot about pH, your pH in August, and what your pH balance, your acidity versus your alkalinity has to do with your metabolism, your optimal weight, and your optimal energy. And that was really news to a lot of people that, they were doing all the things, all the right things in terms of exercise and eating right. They thought, like getting all the protein, but not necessarily getting enough vegetables in. So next up, I think most recently we've been talking about muscle, and following September's muscle, I also talked significantly about bone density, because as you know, for many of us, and maybe you don't know the statistics, but 30%, that's it, 30% of all gym members are going back right now. And they're anywhere, depending on who you consult with, and I'm talking about polls and surveys of at least 10,000 people, 46 to 59%, almost 60% of people say they're not going back to the gym ever right now. And of course, you and I know we can make a choice and a decision today, and we can change our mind tomorrow. And yet, probably without a vaccine, and without a vaccine that's proven effective, and we may be talking a year, maybe less than a year, hopefully, for a vaccine, but to prove that a vaccine is actually working and effective, in spite of arguments going back and forth about what Sweden has done and whether we should actually close everything up or we should open it up and let people get it so that we can get over it, that argument is not going to be over immediately, even if the election is over. So it's going to be a while before the rest of us feel safe going back. And we can't wait. We need to be exercising at home in a way that helps us maintain our lean muscle tissue, maintain our bone density, specifically you. So yes, everybody, younger and older, young men, young women, all need to be doing that, because then we're going to age a lot better in the beginning. We're not going to get to midlife, hopefully here. Our daughters and sons will pass on to them, and they will age healthier than we even have, and that's the way it should be. But right now, in midlife, if you're at the end of perimenopause or beginning of your postmenopause journey, we're in an accelerated muscle and bone loss right now, because of the shift of our hormones is so dramatic that potentially what's in here, that shift is not quite so dramatic. We hold on to the old way we used to think about doing things for way too long. And even if we have all the evidence in the world that what we're doing is not working for us. So, we need to be exercising at home, strength training, but not just picking up the weights, doing it to muscular fatigue in a way that doesn't hurt our joints, but does help our hormones, right? So it's not just knowing, okay, I can't go do any workout, I need to do the one right for my hormones. That's step one, starting like that. But step two is doing the workout that is designed for women like you, not research on mice, research on men, especially young men at the peak of their muscle mass, and not even young women, because our hormone profile is so very different than at 20-somethings. So, that was September, but as a small portion of that September masterclass, I talked about protein and the need for Yes, the exercise stimulus and the rest and recovery and the protein. And this month I'm really deep diving into the protein. I'll give you a disclaimer right now. So spoiler alert, I do carry a protein product, and I do, after 30 years of swearing up and down and all around that I will never, ever, 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 ever sell supplements. And now, protein qualifies as a supplement. And I am, and the reason is this, that I started using protein powder when I was 30, and I had just had my son and started training that summer for a marathon. And actually it was the next summer, so he was 18 months or so when I did it. But I realized after a period of time, I did not know what I didn't know. I was using the junk protein. And so as soon as I learned, what I realized by the time that I started flipping 50 is that most of the people in my tribe were still using those junk proteins, either not using one at all, not getting enough protein, and then going to find one on the shelf in their grocery store that was garbage, and not knowing what those words meant, that they are hidden sugars or that they're soy, and they're things that actually cause you to store fat, not to burn fat. So I realized, okay, I can either tell them and then just kind of leave them to go look, or I can create one. So that's what I did. So I have to tell you that because it's not a self-promotional masterclass, although I will share with you that this is why I created mine. But that's a very small part of what we're talking about. So what we are going to talk about is your protein need based on research, specifically for women, and men are included here too, because it's as they do research based on protein needs for older adults, they begin to take a look at both genders. And as we get over 50 and closer to 65, we do become more alike than different with males. So it's all about aging. It's about the effects of having adequate protein on us now, and 60 and 70 and 80 and 90, and what happens if we don't have it. What is adequate protein and what is high quality protein, which is something I say we hear a lot. And what's a complete protein, what's an incomplete protein? If you're doing plant-based proteins only, how do you combine them? So lots of goodies for you right within that session. There's also a Q&A session at the end if you want to ask me questions live. And what I like for you right now, I have a big ask. So it's taken me almost 8 minutes, but I want to ask, what are your biggest questions about protein? About your protein need, about what kind of protein you should have, the timing of that protein, how it should be distributed over the course of the day, or if that matters, how you calculate it based on your activity level or your age. What specifically are your questions? So I didn't want to feed you questions, but I would love to have yours because I want to make sure at the end that I include them all. Ideally, you're there live and you can ask me. So I will put the link below this video so that you can register and join me live on that. But right now, my ask for you is where or what or when, what are your protein questions about this point in your life, and how is that related to your fitness or maybe the lack of results that you're getting right now? So look forward to just drop them down below. And if this is a topic that you're interested in, really these topics come from our Flipping 50 community members. Join the Facebook group if you'd like to. That Facebook group is facebook.com/groups, and it's Flipping 50 Insiders. And I take questions for our master classes. I also take questions for podcasts, and we'll answer just a quick Q&A between our more meaty, longer podcast episodes. So look forward to answering your question in a future podcast and or answering your question in a masterclass on Wednesday night. Thanks so much. See you on the flip side.